Hey, welcome to the Sharpe Way show. It is Monday, 7 p.m. on the East Coast, which means you got to hear my mug. Yes, here I am. See my mug, hear my voice. I am back after a couple of days off the Christmas holidays. I hope you guys all had a good Christmas. For those of you who celebrated, for those of you who did not, I hope you had a couple of cool days off. That sounds great. So please, as always, like, comment, share to the best of your ability. Let people know what we're doing here. Let them know that we are rocking and rolling, trying to make change, trying to let people know that we're trying to make movements here. I appreciate that. And of course, if you are someone who likes CBD or thinks those products will assist you in some way, head over to grownselection.com. Make a purchase, put in Sharpe Way 20, get 20% off. And of course, you know my sponsors, theadvocates.org. Share the world's smallest political quiz. Make me happy and them happy. Life is good. I wanted to talk today about several things. There were a lot of things that were going on, but I guess the biggest news in general is the relief bill. Maybe I'll call it that. The relief bill. The relief bill has been the stimulus package has been passed. How about that? Maybe that's the right answer for it. And the question is, how good is this thing going to be? Is it going to be that good? What's going to be the long-term problems and issues and good things about it? Look, if you're struggling, I know many of us are, that's $600 or maybe it'll become $2,000. I'm sure it will be nice. I'm sure it will be. I'm not upset about somebody who's saying, man, I want my $600 or want my $2,000 because I'm struggling. I get it. I'm in. Okay, I understand that. The question is that the kind of quick fix that's going to feel good when you get it, and then that's it? Therein is my biggest problem, right? My biggest concern is, okay, here's your $600 and that's that. I don't actually even mind here's the extra money for those people who are unemployed. I don't necessarily mind that idea either. The worry becomes, though, do I make it so much to where you think, why would I go back to work? If I could just stay on unemployment, why would I go back to work, right? That's a concern that I have also. The goal is to get everybody back to work. But if the governors are going to keep shutting down the economy, you're not going back to work anyway. So does it really hurt? I don't even know. The bill itself, it isn't just that it throws money at us, which I understand why people want that. But it doesn't just throw money at us, right? If they just said, there's 110 or whatever the number is, I'm going to make the number for sake of argument. There's 110 million U.S. households. Again, making that number up. I'm not sure what that number is. It's around that in some way. 110 million U.S. households. We're going to give each household $500. It's a 5 billion? Whatever that number is. It's that number, and there's your money. Okay, I mean, that's something, but not doing that. What they're doing is they're giving money to all their cronies. They're also adding things like they're making things like streaming a felony. Streaming illegally, a felony. They're giving money to Wall Street. They're giving money to museums. They're giving money to cronies. For those of you who remember my plan I had back earlier in the day, 9 months ago, and then my plan that I also had recently when it came to New York State, it was always about just making the straight cash payment to the people who were being hurt physically, and then opening up everything for others to work and build themselves back up. The problem for most Americans is not a cash problem. It isn't a money problem. And what I mean by that is the average American can go without. And many of us, if you've been in situations that I've been in, you've gone without. And you can handle going without. That you can do. You can tighten your belt and go without. What you can't handle is the debt. The debt is what destroys us. And that's not dealt with. If you're actually going to have government step in, and you know how much I love that, but if you're going to have government step in to help the people, why aren't we helping them with the biggest issue? And that is the debt, right? Literally, if you said, okay, Americans, your salary and all your income is cut by 2/3 all of a sudden overnight, we'd be in trouble. But if you said, but by the way, no debt, it would suck, but we could survive until that was back in action. It's the debt that crushes us, and that's the thing that's not being touched. And that's the thing that bothers me most. This bill, this stimulus package doesn't touch that. It helps out cronies, throws us crumbs, and then keeps the government going, and then makes, streaming illegally a felony to help big business now. So it was another giveaway to big businesses, and it didn't help us anywhere near in the spots that it should have. When I talked about New York State handling the COVID response recently, right? What do we do now? Oh my God, the hospitals. My answer was, don't throw the money New York State gets at other things, right? Don't throw it at the Met or at the MTA. Don't do that. Instead, throw all the money at the hospitals and tell them, build out your ICUs now, fast, like using the Army Corps of Engineers. Bring that ship, the USS Comfort, back. Build out your hospitals so that if we wind up getting more people in, we can deal with the people, have the respirators required, have the hospital required, have the beds required to save lives now, and open up the economy. And let us work our way out of our debt. Instead of giving everyone money to hold us over for another X number of months, instead, deal with the problem we have. And the problem that everyone will tell you, unless they're all lying, is hospitals. Okay, throw the money at them. Give them the resources to build out the hospitals, to get more beds, to get more ICUs, etc. Doctors, bring on more people, whatever. Do that. And let us get back to work. Let the young get back to work and protect the elderly and those who are in the way of the COVID hammer, right? The COVID hammer really affects heavily people over 65, 70, more than anybody else. We know they're in the way of the COVID hammer. Got it. Protect them from that hammer. Let the rest of us go back. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up. I thought it bothered a lot of people, and I wanted to see what you guys are thinking about that too. Hey, Rich, always good to hear from you, brother. Yes. How you doing? And hope you had a great Christmas. Yes. America racked up record deficits in 2020, and yet they just passed another horrendous spending bill. Yes. We don't deal with our debt, national debt, nothing, right? Nothing. 100% true. That part we don't even talk about. National debt. There we go. Beat you to it, Pete. Yes. Well done, Andrew. 27 trillion for national. But here's my issue, right? If we're ever going to pay our debt off, and I'm not sure we ever are, but if we are going to pay our debt off, it has to be because we have more and better commerce here in America, right? We can't pay the debt off without paying taxes to pay the debt off, right? That has to happen, assuming that we're going to pay it off. So why wouldn't I be doing everything I could to get Americans back to work so we could pay our debt off? Now you might say, well, Larry, if we do this bill, we'll just have more debt. Yes, that's true. I'm not saying that's not true. You're right. So I would surely rather have a bill or a package that would encourage commerce so that we can eventually pay it back. What we're doing is just going to more debt. Just going to more debt. That's it. We're basically throwing good money after bad. That's my problem right there. So, yes. Yeah, Pete, he got you a little faster than you did. Absolutely. Yes. All right. See if I can do this. Has anyone seen Joe Jorgensen? I don't know. I haven't, but doesn't mean she's not out. Just means there's probably also a media blackout. It's common too. So I don't know. Maybe. If someone has, please let me know. I'm happy to hear that. Yes. I like how people that have been living on welfare for years still get it. This is another point, right? There are two sides to this, Stephen, right? There's two ideas behind this. And I'm actually okay if you just decide which one you're going to do. One is, hey, this is not a package to help people. This is a package to stimulate the economy. If that's where you're going, give it to everybody because I want everybody spending, right? So if that's your actual goal, I just want people spending. If that's your goal, then yeah, give it to everybody. Particularly people who've been living on welfare, they're going to spend it. Good. They're not going to invest it. You're just going to spend the money. Your goal is to get the economy rocking. Great. Give it to everybody. It makes sense if that's your goal. But if your goal is to help the average American, then you're right. Why are you giving to people who are already living on public assistance already, right? That's where they're living already. Why are they getting more money? That's a valid point, right? Or people who are making, 6-7 figures a year. They're good. The problem is we haven't decided what this bill is. We say Americans need help, then we call a stimulus bill. Well, which one is it? And Stephen, if it's to help people, you're right. If it's to stimulate, who cares? Give it to everybody. Just throw money to everybody and let them. In fact, if that's the case, don't give it to the museums. Give it to people so they can go to the museums, right? So it depends on what you're doing. This bill does nothing right. It does a bunch of things poorly. So it's a valid point. Yes. Yes, money printing go. Yes, absolutely, 100% true. Buy Bitcoin with it and hold. I liked it. I actually have a bunch of Bitcoin, and it's looking real good because I didn't buy it anywhere near what it's at now. So yes, I'm good. Yes, 100%. What's the debt? Yeah, most people don't even know what that is. 100%. It's looting, straight up looting at this point. The country's over. Prepare for it. God, I hope you're wrong. I really do. Right? I see New York State being that canary in the coal mine, right? And maybe Illinois is. Illinois might be the actual canary in the coal mine, right? When that state goes under, that, well, maybe when New York goes under, because Illinois might go in the first, and maybe we can save it. I can only hope if Illinois goes under, the rest of the country goes, whoa, let's do something. But if they let New York go under, you're right. It's ball game's over. I hope you're wrong, but you might be right. Yes. So I have concerns about the Egyptian military funding possibly being cut in order to pay these silly $600 checks. What can be done? Great question. I think. Nice. I like that. The people who aren't disabled and haven't been working shouldn't be getting anything. Well, this goes back right to Stephen's question, Philip. Is the goal to help people, or is the goal to stimulate the economy? If it's to stimulate the economy, give everybody money, right? If that's the goal, just throw the money at everybody. Money print to go brrr. Absolutely. Throw the money out there and get the economy going. Okay, I get that if that's your goal. But to help people, I don't know. Right? I don't know. So we don't have that. I like a family in America doesn't have debt is a family that's thinking ahead. Most families have debt. It is the way that we do things in America. Our economy is built upon debt. It encourages debt. It frowns upon people who don't have debt. And never forget this. This is probably 2006 or 2007 in that area. I'm at many different events talking about mergers and acquisition, having conversations about that with other people talking about their businesses. And constantly I heard the same thing. Your business has no debt. No, we have no debt. You should put some debt on that business. Literally, they were telling them, Brendan, you should put debt on the business. People were thinking, there was a mindset on Wall Street that if you didn't have debt in your business, you weren't thinking ahead. I know some of you are like, what? Yes, that was the mindset. I can't invest in your business. You don't have any debt. You haven't, you're not thinking ahead. You're not prepared to risk, to do great things. That was the mindset. And there's some of that still out there now. That companies that don't have debt, like, what's wrong with you? You don't have much debt. What's going on? There's still some of that out there to this day that has kind of come over from that time. Now we see how that debt helped us in 2009 and 10. It didn't, right? But that was still a cultural issue that I think a lot of people are, to this point, still dealing with. So when the money supply increases beyond output, the $2,000 will be a negative to the extent that there is an increase beyond output. Economists do not get stressed until long-term debt exceeds 60 beyond GDP. You mean 60%? Is that what you mean, Gene? I'm not sure. I think you mean 60%, right? Yeah, the problem is, the average politician is just concerned about getting elected now, right? Most politicians to this moment are looking at one thing, the Georgia special election. You think they're looking past that? Most are not, right? Then most are like, Mitch McConnell's like, I need to keep my seat. Nancy Pelosi's like, I got to keep my seat. That's what they care about, right? I need to keep my power base. That's what I care about. The rest of them, and Chuck Schumer would love to replace Mitch McConnell. I get it. I'm not happy about that, but I get it. I think that's what's happening right now. The problem with the stimulus amounts for the people is that the people will be asking for more until we're bone dry, and then we ask the China rush for money. God, Andrew, I wish you were wrong, but you are so right. You are so right. We are training our population to just wait for the checks, right? We're training our population to just wait for checks. Just sit back and wait for the check. Don't get out there. If you do, I'm gonna slap you down. Don't you dare get out there and work. I'm gonna slap you down. Stay in your house. Stay in your jail cell. And I remember, I think I was watching CNN over the weekend, and there was one of the anchors. One of the anchors was talking to one of the reporters who was on the scene someplace, and the reporter was like showing, and people are still traveling, even though we've told them that it's bad. I can't believe, looking crazy, like, oh my God, it's nuts. Yet she traveled to get to that place to be on the scene. But people are crazy for traveling. But she did to get to that place. And not just that, how dare these people, why won't they just stay in their cells? We've told them to stay in their cells, in their cages. Why won't these animals just stay in their cages? Yeah, you're setting up an environment to where people rebel, right? I mean, does anyone think, and it's possible I'm wrong here when I say this, but does anyone actually think that the bomber in Nashville wasn't somehow related to shutdowns? Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. But it's hard for me to think that some shut-in who now feels worse, who's now sitting in there feeling like the world's ending or whatever he's feeling, decides, you know what the best answer is? Going out in a blaze of glory. So many of the bad things that happened this year in 2020, so many of them are directly related to the shutdowns. So many. From George Floyd to this guy, Anthony Warner. From one to the other, you can link it right to the shutdowns. Right to the shutdowns. We've been asking for this. Just asking for it. Larry, run for president as a Dem and win to implement LP policies, kind of like AP, but different. Well, AP's running as a Republican, so I don't know. Whatever you mean, run as a Dem because I live in New York, and that's a better chance for me to win because I run as a Democrat in New York? Look, first off, to be clear, I'm not a Democrat, right? Do I attack Republicans sometimes? Sure, absolutely. But I'm not anti-Republican. I'm not anti-Democrat. I'm not anti either. Now, many of you are anti the other. I'm not. But the problem is if I run as a Democrat, there are several fold. One, how in the world would I get a nomination? The party would hate me, right? Because the Democratic Party, particularly in New York, is really heavily left. For those who don't know, New York State Democrats are really left. New York City Democrats, downright communist. I'm nowhere near that. So how could I even win the nomination? I appreciate the tactics. I appreciate the insight. My worry is how could I even get a nomination? And if I'm going to be as establishment Democrats, I don't have the establishment credibility, right? The Democrat Party on the whole is heavily about the establishment. They're not going to back a guy like me. So even if I wanted to, I'm not sure it could even happen, right? One of the reasons why AP lost in his primary is because he was an establishment. The establishment backed his opponent, right? So how's this guy going to come in and beat the establishment? It's hard. So, and then what happens if I run as a Democrat? What if I lose? I lose in the primary or whatever. Then I'm some guy who turned coat, lost in the primary, and I'm a nobody. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy who I stuck to my guns. The Libertarian Party is the right movement. It is the right party. And if I lose, maybe someone will come in behind me, right? I said when I ran for governor and I lost, I said, I broke a hole. Now it's time for others I broke a hole in the wall. Now the rest, you got to follow me through. And I still believe in that. I'd rather run as a libertarian. I hope I win and run to win. But if I lose, hopefully I break a hole and others flow in behind me. Someone asked me years ago, I tell the story often, in New Jersey, they said, Larry, what archetype are you? Movie archetype. I said, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm the guy who runs in, trains the Jedi, fights Darth Vader and loses, and then everybody else wins. The rebels then went after me. I don't mind that. I have a mission to grow this movement. If I'm ahead of it, awesome. If I'm top of it, awesome. If I'm in the middle or someplace else, awesome. Wherever I am, fine. I'm okay with that. So, what happens, I assume, with debt? China takes us over? No such thing as world debt. No, not at all. You're right, Brennan. What happens is eventually the country will have to default at one point and just go, we're not paying. Right? When that happens, China won't take us over at all. what will happen is there'll be a massive lack of trust, a lot of fighting and damage and worry about the markets. The US dollar may not be, a reserve currency anymore. Who knows what can happen there? There could be damage, but no, China doesn't take us over. That doesn't happen. That's not how that works, right? What happens is there'll be a lack of trust in the currency, a lack of trust in the United States trading. So that kind of stuff will happen. And our companies, particularly those that trade overseas, there will be a lot of short-term pain, In the long run, we're going to want to work together again. So that's what will probably happen if the debt gets so high that we default. No one's going to take us over. That's not going to happen. But however, in the short run, up to that debt, is it possible that foreign entities will buy up a bunch of our assets to kind of, to deal with the people they're going to deal with? Hey, look, give us this, give us that. We'll keep working with you. That's possible, right? We might lose a bunch of real estate to China or a bunch of factories to whomever. That's possible. Depends upon how that works. But if U.S. defaults, odds are we would just seize the assets and just take them back, and everyone's mad and reparations and a disaster. It's nothing but bad, Brendan, but you're right. There's no China to take this over. It's just bad, right? So thank you, Philip. I am trying to make sure that people get up and get going. Absolutely. COVID has been terrible with regards to entry-level jobs. Yes, so many of them. Absolutely. Hospitals need more than just ICU nurses, doctors. Hospitals need money for cybersecurity. Yes, and Tommy Brown, for those who don't know, Tommy Brown's running in Indiana and Washington County, if I'm not mistaken. So for those who want to check him out, check out Tommy Brown. You can click here right here and see him on Twitter and on Facebook. He's been talking about cybersecurity for months. I mean, months now, right? And the thing he's talking about is all these people going into hospitals. Someone has to take all their data in, right? Their records, their data, their background. And what happens when cybersecurity is not strong enough and some guy decides, I got fired from my job, right? So let me make some cash and let me take somebody's records hostage. And he takes the entire hospital's records hostage. So you want your records back? You got to pay me $500,000 or whatever is the number he decides the hospital can spend. Does the hospital spend the money? Or does the hospital accept that now everyone's private, data is now out on the internet? That's a big issue. 100%, Tom. Thank you so much for that. Yes. The Federal Reserve owes me about $3 million in inflation refunds. Wouldn't that be nice, Gene? That the Fed starts giving. If the Fed's starting to give money back, I don't know. Maybe I'm okay with keeping the Fed for a while. But yeah, I see your point. Larry, you getting the vaccine early? I'm not. It's not that I wouldn't get the vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine. I've said it before. I'm absolutely anti-mandate. I'm 100% anti-mandate. But I'm not going to get the vaccine early because I'm not at risk. I mean, I guess I am. Everyone's at risk. But I'm not in a high-risk category, right? I'm not over 65, and I have no pre-existing conditions. So I'm not in that world. My kids aren't either. They're both young. They were in school the whole time until it shut down. I was on a subway almost every day until we had to shut down. So I'm not going to get it early. Would I get it? Maybe. I'm not against getting it, but I'm not rushing for it. I hope that answered. Yes. $600 is $1.60 per day. 600 divided by 365 days is $1.64. For just $1.64 a day, you can sponsor American. Yeah. And they got to show like people out of work or something, right? This American, he's out. This is Jane. She's out of work. She used to be a server at a restaurant. This is Jim. He used to be a server at the other restaurant. They're both out of work. For just $1.64 a day, you can sponsor this American. I guess so. But what are you going to get with the $600? So, when will New York City allow indoor dining? My assumption is that we're going to begin to open up after January. That's my assumption. And whatever's left over, give or take, about half of the restaurants in New York City are going to be shut down by then. I mean, just gone. So who knows what we're going to have left. The population of the city, once this is all said and done by next year, will be under 7 million by the end of next year. It's going to be bad. End of next year, not this year. End of next year. It's going to be really bad. New York City is going to suffer tremendously. Absolutely. So, hey, Larry, I'm lucky to be living in Australia. They pay $2,000 a month unemployment and subsidize wages of employees who would otherwise be laid off. Wow. This was not a once-off thing. It's gone on every month for the duration of the crisis. For a time, this was the only thing keeping me on my feet. I promise you, I never thought for myself, wow, why I want to go back to work. The government could have decided to turn the faucet off at any time and didn't want to. Rely. I'm not sure what that is, but I get it. Adam, I'm actually, I get it, right? If the goal was to just give the money to the people, I get that, right? While of course I don't want government to step in, but I'm realistic. It's going to, right? That style is actually a better style. If you heard me say it earlier, if you say, I'm going to give every American X dollars multiplied by the number of Americans, households, here's the money. If you're going to just go, here's the money, at least the economy keeps moving, right? And that's the whole goal. At least the economy keeps moving. People keep buying things. People keep moving. You don't shut your economy down. That's not the best answer in the world, but is it better than what we did? Yes. If I had to choose between what you said, Adam, and what we did, I would go with what you said. I would. But I think there was a better way of doing it, and I brought it up, again, months ago, how I thought we should do it. Just bail out the freaking banks and get rid of our debt. Bail out the banks and let us keep moving at half rate. And we just keep moving at half rate to keep the economy going and to keep us still surviving, so that now it's 6 months. We figure out how to adapt to this new environment, and then we can keep going. This way, no one has to stay home. Everyone can still work if they want to. If you're in trouble, you can protect those people who need to be protected. It's all good. I'm actually not against this concept that you're talking about, because I'm comparing it to what we actually are doing. What we're doing is the absolute worst. We're doing crony capitalism with no way of growth, which, exactly to Andrew's point, it's just ensuring that we have to keep asking for money. It's just ensuring that we have to keep asking for money. At least what you're talking about, Adam, it's done. That's how it works. People who aren't working get that. You don't shut the economy down. You keep going. Not great, but man, better than what we did. Way better than what we did. So yes, Andrew, when the people ask for more money, it's like Oliver Twist asking for more food. Yes, the difference is money is root of all evil and food is really good. I like how you think about that. I'm not sure money's the root of all evil, but when it's coming from the government, yeah. For that, in that case, I'm going to go yes, in that case. But yeah, it's a valid point. Now we've come to a point where this is what we expect. Now we're not even thinking anymore about how we can actually fix this. We're just thinking, how do we get more money from the government? This is a problem. So to ask if the stimulus will work means that there are stated goals for the stimulus, which I don't recall was ever stated by the bureaucrats in the swamp. Valid point. Yes, you are correct. Yes. They were just like, let's just not get the American people mad at us. I think that was the goal of a stimulus bill. It was to make Americans not mad at us today. I think passing that did that, right? You give people $600, they tend to not be mad at you. If I walked up to you and said, here's $600, you're probably not mad at me today. Maybe tomorrow, but not today. You're like, Larry, you're a good guy. Thanks for the money. So I think that's true. Not to mention all the bull in the bill. Yes, absolutely. Yes. No, we are letting Chinese buy stuff up here to cover the debt so they have an easy time taking over. God, I hope that's not true, Stephen. I hope you're wrong. Absolutely. I hope you're wrong. So the stimulus will weaken the dollar. I think that's true also, Wade. Yep. Other countries should call our bluff with these unbacked funny money handouts. Yeah, but then they have to call their own bluff, Wade. See, we're all in the same game, right? That's why we can't do that, right? We're all in the same game. So if they call our bluff, we got to call their bluff. We have a Fed. They have central banks. Are we going to call each other's bluff? We'd rather just be quiet and pretend like it's all good. So, yeah. Excuse me. Will the Senate actually vote for the increase? My gut says yes. My gut says yes, that it's going to go to $2,000 because it's another giveaway, right? And you'll go, oh, they gave us money, so let's keep them in charge. I think that's right. Do you need to run for gov again? Get your face out there. What do you think I'm doing? Every day at 7 o'clock? Lee, share this. Help me get my face out there. What do you think I'm doing? Absolutely. Yes. Did they read what they were signing this time? No, they did not. They did not read it. No, they did not. Their staffer said, this polls well, sign it. This polls poorly, don't sign it. That's what actually happened. They didn't read it. Right? Their people went to them and said, here's what our polling suggests. Act accordingly. That's what actually happened. Or their own party said, you better do it or we're going to punish you, or you better not do it or we're going to punish you. So any of those happened. Yes. Yay, Illinois is better at sucking than New York. I'm so proud to live in Illinois. When it comes to finance and budget issues, Illinois is worse. It's true. New York's bad. I mean, we're bad, but you do have us beat. You are in worse trouble than we are. When it comes to states going under, odds are Illinois goes before New York. That's the odds. Yes, 100%. So, all right. The goal is quantitative easing. Print. Capitalism works. That's actually very funny, Chip. That's very good. The goal is quantitative easing. Print. Capitalism works. Yes. No, the biggest problem we deal with in this case is the Fed keeping, the Feds, for those of you who don't know this, the Fed's been putting money into our economy every quarter since 2009, and it hasn't stopped. 11 straight years of just magic money into the economy. Just keep putting it in. I thought this bubble was going to bust way earlier because they just keep putting money in. But no, the COVID just made it happen now, right? That bubble was already there. And then COVID said, pop. So you're right. Print. Capitalism can work, Chip. It really can. And conceptually, it does. I mean, it's still, as broken as our crony capitalism is in America and across the world, most countries have much more crony capitalism than they have actual capitalism. But even with that, it still pulled more people, out of poverty. It still made things better in general. It still created better products and services than it ever has. So it's still, this goes back to the idea of democracy. Democracy, while, is the absolute best government that we've ever had. It's not great. There's faults to democracy too, but I don't know anything better. Maybe if we find something better, I'm in, right? Capitalism, while it isn't great, there's tons of problems. I don't know what's better. I haven't seen anything better. So at the moment, I'm saying, let's try to fix this and move this in the right direction. But you're right. Once we start playing the Fed game, capitalism by default begins to fail, right? That's one of the reasons why it begins to fail. The Fed just destroys the economy, which it does constantly. Yes. Literally no one is talking about the debt. I mention it and they look at me like I have four heads. People are generally clueless. Yes, that's absolutely true. A lot of people are not talking about the debt. And when you bring it up, they think it's dumb. And I get why, again, if you're struggling, if you can't pay your bills or if you see your friend struggling, you're like, I need help. Not enough of us get together to say, government, no, get off our backs. We don't do that, particularly in New York. In New York, we just go, oh, government says so? Okay, that's what we do. And when government says stop, we don't do anything. We just sit back and wait for government to tell us what to do. Government always has money because it's government money, right? No one uses the phrase that I use all the time, which is taxpayer money. I use that phrase, taxpayer money. Most people don't. They just go, it's government money. It's fine. It's free money. Just take it. They don't see it. You're right, Pat, and I wish it were different. There was a fire here in Rochester with a building that printed ballots, and Michigan and the AG threatened Trump. I'm not sure where that comes from. Is that for me, Sam, or somebody else? I don't really. I'm not sure where that comes from, Sam. I'm sorry. All right. Let's see. We cut up our credit cards 15 years ago. My small repair business is debt free. It's nice to be debt free. It is. I've been debt free and I've been full of debt, both. And sadly for me, in 2009 and 10, when the crash hit, I was chock full of debt. And boy, did I pay a price for that. So yes, it's definitely better if you're not debt. Clearly, yes. So let's see if I can keep going. Give money to the people just so government can get money right back. Tax season is coming up. I've been working full-time and overtime. I don't want the money. I didn't want the first one. I kept my savings, but I didn't want it. Look, if the government's going to give a bunch of people money and they give you a check, keep the check. Rebecca, put it in your bank. I love it. If you love government that much, you can always give it back. But I wouldn't. I would, you're paying taxes, you're getting hammered. If they're going to give you money, just take the money. I'm not one of those guys who go, well, I can't take that money. No. You're going to write me a check, I'm going to take it. Everyone else is taking the money too. We're going to take the money. But we can still try to fix the system. I'm glad, Rebecca, you're in a spot where you can put it in the bank. Good on you, and I wish more people that way. I'm surprised there's so many people here who are like, no debt. That's amazing. I wish more Americans were that way. But I was talking about this. I was just on Andrew Heaton's podcast. We recorded it this morning. It'll be coming out in a couple of days. And I discussed the idea of, the system is made for us to go into debt. The system's made for that, which is one of the reasons why so many people are in debt. It doesn't mean you have to go into debt. And clearly people who are watching and listening aren't going to debt. So there are many who aren't. But the system pushes you into debt. You've really got to resist, right? I go, no, I'm not going to do this. When I was a kid, teenager, I actually could go to a bank. When I got my first job, I put like $200 into a bank account, whatever amount it was. And I put like $200 in the bank account. They gave me a gift. I forgot. I think it was a toaster or electric can opener or something. They gave me some kind of gift. I brought it home to my mom. I was like 15. I opened up my bank account with my first job. I'm like, okay, I got money now. So I put it in the bank and they gave me a gift. I was getting real interest on my account. I remember maybe like a year or two later when I had some money in my account, they're like, hey, do you want to put your money in a CD, certificate of deposit? I was like, oh, what's that? Well, you put it in, you lock your money in for 2 years and you get a higher interest rate. I was like, oh, so I have to agree to not spend my money for 2 years. Like, yeah, you lock it in, you can't spend it for 2 years, and you get a higher interest rate. You know what that interest rate was? 10%. Some of you are like, no way. Yes. This is probably 81. I'm guessing in that area, 82 maybe in that area, something like that, right? I can get a CD, put it in a bank, not a special account, not invested, a regular account, a CD, certificate of deposit, agree not to spend my money for 2 years, and I used to get 10% interest. Those days are long gone. That's 40 years ago. Those days are long gone, right? That's long gone. It's going to be 82 maybe? I forgot what year it was. Anyway, it was in the 80s, right? That's when it happened. Not anymore. Those days are gone. So it's set for us to go into debt. I'm happy that many of you are going, no, you're not playing that game. I appreciate that. But for some of you who want to spend money, who are stressed about that because you have debt or concerned, please watch this. Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way here. Look, are you dealing with some anxiety, some stress, maybe some pain from hustling during this tough time? If you think a CBD product might help you relieve some of that anxiety or pain, head on over to grownselection.com. Check them out. High quality, top rated, libertarian owned. Looking for creams, powders, oils, whatever is going to make your health better. Check them out. Make a purchase. Put in Sharpe Way 20. Get 20% off. They're our sponsor. Support us. Support your health. grownselection.com. That guy's right. You should listen to him. Absolutely. So, yes. We're to cover this. I appreciate that. Hold on if I can keep doing this. 1998, Andrew Cuomo under Clinton's HUD successfully sued the banks to force them to make bad loans. Fast forward to 2008, and boom, with a subprime mortgage crisis result, trillions of debt. Yes and yes. Yes, absolutely. There's no doubt. But remember, it was under, if you remember what this was under the idea of you're going to help people. Remember that? It was, well, there are so many people who are poor or people of color who can't get mortgages, so we have to help them out. The subprime mortgages, we got to help these people out. It was all under the auspices of we're going to do good. See, because we care. And who was hammered the most and losing their homes and assets in 2009, 2010? Yeah, people of color and poor people. So the idea that some people believed was a good idea, and I don't know if Clinton and Cuomo thought it was a good idea. I have no idea if they even cared. But the people who were pushing it, they bought the story, right? They bought the story of this is going to help people. They bought it, they pushed it, and it hammered them like there's no tomorrow. It totally didn't work. You're correct. Yet again, absolutely. All right. Cayuga County sent me a new elections form and said they will be moving me to other column libertarian. Guess we didn't get enough votes this past election. We didn't get enough votes to achieve the bogus rules that New York State is trying to create for this year for ballot access. That's accurate. But to think that we didn't get enough votes this past election, no, I disagree. We don't need to get votes this election. It wasn't required, right? We didn't do well in New York State. Jorgensen did not do well in New York State. That's true. But that isn't the issue. The issue is when I got ballot access for the party in 2018, The agreement was it's for 4 years. The states decided, well, we're going to renege on that. Nope, you're not. We're going to get ballot access right back. Well, I'm sorry, we're going to retain our ballot access because we never lost it. The rules are bogus. And not just that, how are you going to change the rules to get in the ballot? First off, in the middle of election cycle, number one, that you agreed for 4 years, and two, in the middle of COVID, when you shut the country down. Nope, not worried, Justin. We are going to retain, and we are retaining our ballot access. That is just a way of trying to get people off the libertarian line. It is embarrassingly bad. It shows how broken our state is. It shows how scared they are of us. When, for those of you who don't know this, in New York State, when we got ballot access in 2018, it took some districts 9 to 10 to 12 months to get the new forms that allowed you to register as libertarian. 9, 10, 12 months to do it. Oh, but they say we lose ballot access? Within a month, they got letters out going, you're screwed. It's done. Within a month, they got letters out. It's across 18 million people in the state. 12 million people eligible to vote. 10 million registered. They got all those letters out. We're good. We're going to send the letters out. We're fine. We got that covered. But no. But when we win ballot access, it takes them 12 months to get it. Just a broken system. Don't worry about it, Justin. We got it covered. So, stimulus checks are basically Amazon gift cards since everything's closed. Yeah. So let's all just, let's just all give us Amazon Prime accounts. Is that should be what they should do? Give us all Amazon Prime accounts. Pete, it's very good. I'm so stealing that. Yeah. And I'll probably give you some credit. I don't always give you credit, but I'll probably give you credit for that one. I like that one. That's good. Yes. So I'm in Georgia, been there since 2004, moving from New York. I know so many people have been leaving New York. Jay only became GOP in 2002. First GOP governor since Reconstruction. Look at that. There we go. Welcome to socialism. Julia, I don't want in. Don't welcome me. I don't want in. No. Let's turn around now. Let's turn around now. Absolutely. I don't know why we keep talking about the national debt. Mr. Trump already fixed that. I think it's his first 100 days. I'm not sure he did that, but I appreciate the thought. I do. I appreciate the thought. Absolutely. Yes. All right. See if I can keep going. COVID stimulus is kicking the can of the problem. Reopening business without tether is the only answer. I agree with this completely. Yes, right. That's what we constantly do. Exactly right. By the way, no sound bites allowed is a very good podcast. For those of you who want to check it out, please click here. Good podcast. Michael Voss, savvy gentleman, friend of mine. So please check him out if you can. Totally correct, Mr. Voss. Totally correct. We kicking the can just ensures the next guy has to deal with it. Next group has to deal with it. And of course, to Andrew's point, it will mean more money, right? It'll mean we're going to give people more money. We have to open up the businesses. The problem, though, while I agree with what you're saying, I think it's unrealistic. We have been so scared of the virus that I think opening up without tether, I'm not sure that's a realistic answer, even though I think you're correct. I don't think our culture can accept that, right? Because that would then the culture would have to accept that everything we've been talking, preaching, yelling at our neighbors about for the past 9 months, we'd have to accept that as wrong. We're not gonna do that. We're not going to accept that everything we were yelling and screaming about and going over the top about was either wrong or exaggerated. We're not going to do that. We should. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong at all, Michael. I'm just saying people are people. We're not going to go, oh, yeah, those times I called the cops on you, all those times I yelled at you, called you a murderer, all those times. Yeah, I was kidding. Not going to happen. So we have to somehow have a limited tether, to use your phrase, or some type of step off into no tether. I don't think culturally the people can handle it. I know it sounds bad. I'm giving you my view. I don't think we could do that. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Yes. This part, yes. Oh my God, yes. You put people in a position where they're desperate and you get scared, you get surprised. Why are people acting desperately? You put them in the position of being desperate, then they act desperately. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So Why are we shocked by these actions? These actions, we shouldn't be. Not looking forward to paying it back. I'm not sure we will. I'm not sure we will. I wish I was confident that we would actually be paying it back. I'm not sure we would be paying it back. We might not ever pay it back. I hope, in theory, I hope we do. Some of that, guys, we may not be paying that back at all. So I'm not even sure. So I'm going to be using some of that money to buy into your Patreon. Can you give me that link again? Yes, it is patreon.com/Sharpe Way. Yes, patreon.com/Sharpe Way. So please feel free to go ahead and throw some of that stimulus money my way. Happy to have it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, I appreciate that. Yes. So let's see if I can keep going here. Grab some more of these here. Stimulus checks are pointless because we have to end up paying it back. I'm not sure we will, Timmy. That's my point. I think we may just go into deeper and deeper and deeper debt. That is possible. Can we recall Cuomo like they are trying to do with Newsom in California? That petition has over half the required signatures. Might be more by now. A California governor got recalled and removed from office in 2003. I believe so, so it's not impossible. We can't do it because we have a different system, Paul. In California, if enough people get signatures, they can put anything on the ballot, right? That's kind of how California works. That's not how New York works. How New York works is we can ask for it, and it can go. We can do a referendum. We can if the assembly agrees. That's how our system works. So the assembly would have to agree to put that on the ballot. Then we could vote for it, and then if we got it, we could recall him. So we could, but that's not going to happen. But more importantly, most New Yorkers are okay with him. This is the part that still drives me crazy. Most New Yorkers are like, "Oh yeah, you punched me in the face and then gave me an ice pack. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the ice pack. Oh, you hit me again. Can I have the ice pack? Oh, thank you for the ice pack." That's kind of what we're doing. So I don't think that most New Yorkers would actually get rid of him if we could. Even if we were able to put it in the ballot, I think he still won. He got, 60% of the vote last time? Something like that. New Yorkers voted for him in droves. He's been elected 3 times. I don't think we're ready to get rid of him yet. There has to be a reason, or maybe somebody with some charisma, to actually get a shot at getting rid of him. Otherwise, I don't see that happening, right? I don't see it happening. If Biden can't get America back to normal, no one can. There's some truth to that. And I don't make some people on the right angry when I say it. But Biden is, without question, he's the establishment, right? I mean, he's the establishment. Trump supporters get mad. He's the swamp. That's the establishment. So if you want to get America back to that, I do think Biden is actually a good choice if that's what you want. I would like to move America past normal to something better. But to get back to a normal, I think you're right, David. I mean, Biden he's establishment, right? That's what he is. And if there is a normal, I don't know if there is one anymore, but if there was, I think you're right. That's the guy. That's the guy. I personally would like to get America past normal to something better. People disagree with me. And particularly those who are hurting. And I think it's one of the reasons why people really got behind Biden. Some people did, behind him, is because they were just so worried about all the damage being done. They just want to go back to normal, whatever that is. If only I had a good king who would give me money and stuff, right? I think people actually do want to go back to that. I really do. So, yeah, maybe. So, hey, Larry, you can get 6% APY accrued daily on your Bitcoin. You are pumping the Bitcoin, aren't you? All right, look, I've got Bitcoin. I'm with you. I'm there. Remember, inflation was like 15% in the 80s. We had some inflation in the 70s that was horrible. Absolutely. Yes, 100%. Brah. I like that, brah. I got a casserole dish when I opened a bank account one time. Yes, it was a bomb dish to make lasagna in, though. Yes, I got a gift. I think mine was an electric can opener. I'm trying to remember. It's like 4 years ago. I think it was an electric can opener. Like you the one when you push it on the top and go, and it would open up. I think that's what it was. I'm trying to remember that. So yeah. Interview anomaly. Fine. Do you have a connection? I'm happy to have him on. Happy to have him on. Absolutely. Yes. Happy to make that happen. So, all right. I feel the chance to rise up and put a stop to these things is past. Steve, there's a part of me that believes that, and there's a part of me that doesn't want to believe that, right? Like I'm torn on this one. I don't want to believe it's too late, but part of me thinks it is, and that all I can do is hope to motivate people to have a better peace when things go bad. I know it sounds horrible, but there's a part of me that thinks that, right? We no longer have lawmakers in place like New York. Cuomo makes up rules on the fly. Yes. Our county executive is now making emergency rules to cover things like Grubhub restaurant fees. Yes. I see Biden ruling the same way. I think you may be right, but there's a difference. So Biden does have some respect for what he believes is the establishment. So I think because of the way he's been raised, where he's come from, I think there will be some part of him who will not go too crazy. But I do think you're right. He will still go, but it's right. So I have the power to change things. And I think those around him are going to follow the Cuomo model, which is they're not going to stop you. So why wouldn't you do it? So I think some of them are going to go that route too. Yes, I think it is, but I don't think it'll be as bad as people think. I don't think it'll be as bad is what I'm saying. So yeah. Start telling people that the debt will build the roads. No, Byron, no. Don't listen to him. I'm getting him off. Don't listen to him. No. I'm surprised that the government's policies aren't the ones from the Spectre organization of James Bond movies. That's actually funny. I like that. Yeah, the Spectre. That's good. I'd forgotten that. Yes. Governor got his raise, but not giving correctional officers their raise. You got my vote, Larry. I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that. No raise for the governor, and instead give it back to the correctional officers who took a zero, 3 years, Jason, in a row? Is that right? I don't remember. Is it 2 or 3 years? You guys took zeros for 2-3 years in a row. The governor wouldn't sign anything, wouldn't give you a new contract, but he took raises. Yeah. So he's throwing people into the jails and the prisons, making you guys deal with them, and then goes, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to keep punishing you. And then made it worse for correctional officers. Made it worse. A lot of people don't realize, that if you're going to do actual prison reform, I don't mean criminal justice reform. I mean prison reform. If you're going to do prison reform, you kind of got to have the corrections officers as part of this. And this, to so many, particularly New York politicians, is a foreign idea, right? For those of you who know, I'm a consultant. That's what I do for a living, right? That's how I make my money. Consultant, trainer, teacher, coach, all those types of things. If I go into an organization and I've got to fix the organization or give them some ideas on how to make things better, I have to make sure the frontline people talk to me and that they're part of the solution. If they're not part of the solution, it's not going to work. Well, who's in front of the inmates every day? The corrections officers. If I don't have them on board, how am I going to fix anything? That doesn't mean I only talk to corrections officers, because corrections officers obviously have one side of the story. 100%. I believe that they have one side of the story, but it's a critical part of the story. You also have to worry about inmates too, inmates' families, all those things, right? You've got to worry about everybody. But what we've done in New York State is corrections officers, shut up and listen. Shut up. Don't say anything. Oh, you say something, be quiet. Oh, something's wrong? Your fault. Your fault, corrections officer. It's all your fault. There's no fault of the family members. There's no fault of the inmates. It's corrections officers' fault. Don't get me wrong. Are there bad corrections officers? Of course. There's bad everything. Of course. But to assume they're all bad? Stop. And I'm biased. My dad was corrections officer at Rikers Island. So I'm biased, obviously. But still, I'm still right at this. You have to have all sides. And what I told corrections officers when I ran for governor was, if you vote for me, I'll immediately sign and I will immediately give you your contract. You won't be taking zeros ever again as I'm governor. I only ask one thing in return. Help me reform. That's it. If you join me and be part of the solution, we're in. There's no way I can make this thing work and have real, effective solution if you're not part of it. So I'm sorry, I went a little bit off on the correction thing, but it's a personal thing for mine. So Jason, yes, BS, I'm glad you're on my side because I'm on yours. I am. Absolutely. So, all right, let's see if I can go through this. All right. Let's see here. If I can keep going here. 58% of restaurants in New York State expect to close in 6 months. Yes. Biden COVID czar won 6-week lockdown. Estimates of 40% remaining business to close. Expect growth maybe summer before COVID round 3. I hope you are wrong, Michael. I hope you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I hope you're wrong. Oh my God, that would be horrible. What a terrible, wow. That would be horribly bad. Yes. All right. Larry, do you have a reading list for libertarians, economics, and potentially useful ideas? There are so many of them, but if you are already a libertarian, like you've already been in that world, the best thing you could probably do is actually go do a deep dive. The deep dive is probably going to be on people like Milton Friedman, believe it or not. That's anything he's done or said is probably going to give you some very good insight. Thomas Sowell, very good insight if you're already libertarian. If you're on the cusp and you're not sure like where you are, I got to tell you, one of the best ones, as what I felt was the best one, was actually Bastiat's The Law. It's a little highbrow, but you can see exactly what's happening right now. And this was, I think, 1830s France. I think that's right. 1830s, 1800s, I think 1830s. And he's talking about how government's broken then. Back then, it was broken. And you can see exactly directly how it relates to this day. So I'm a big fan of Bastiat's The Law. It's probably my favorite book in that world. Probably my favorite one is that one. But anything by, if you're already a libertarian, go down a Milton Friedman line. It's not a bad place to go. Give some details on how people think in that regard. That's a good one. Also, Mary Ruitt. She has several books on how government just kind of ruins healthcare, ruins things. Her books are great. I love Mary Ruitt. If you have a chance, Ruwart, doctor. So yes, she's also great. Yes. Let's see here. I hate to say it, but divisiveness wins. Democrat voters attack any Democrat that votes for a bill that Trump signs. In other countries, divisiveness loses. Sometimes that works. Absolutely. Sometimes that actually does. I think sometimes you're right. Yeah. Help us, Obi-Wan Sharpe, your only hope. I will try. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. I also love to see an LP president, but the way presidential process works, where each state has a vote, I can't see an LP winning since California and Texas will never go LP. There is a way, and I talked about it before. There is a way, right? We'd have to have someone who the establishment would see as acceptable, right? That's number one, as acceptable. That's one of the reasons why I'm hoping that someone like Justin Amash will stay in the party, still kick, still keep kicking and screaming and kicking, and maybe run in 2024. Someone like him, because he's been part of the game, is acceptable to them. Now, that doesn't mean we win. I'm not saying that. Then what winds up happening is we'd have to win enough states in Electoral College so that the Republicans and Democrats don't get 270, right? And then gets thrown into the Congress. If that happens and we've won the right states, a couple of states are going to vote. For those who don't know, if that happens, it goes into the House and each state gets one vote. So 50 votes. Well, if we have a couple of states, like 2 states as an example, and it goes 49, 49. No, hold on. My math is totally off. Sorry, 20, 24, 24, 2. No one gets 51. No one can win. They got to pick somebody as a compromise to the point earlier point of divisiveness. Democrats aren't going to vote Republican. Republicans aren't going to vote Democrat. They'd have to agree to a compromise, which would be the Libertarian president. Now, those odds are astronomical. I'm not saying that's great, but I'm saying that's the chance, right? That is the way. It is a lottery ticket. I get it, but that's the way. There is a way. In that specific case, if it works that way, the Libertarian Party wins 2 or 3 states electorally, enough to stop the other 2 Democrat Republicans from getting 270. It gets thrown to the House, and then neither of the states can get, neither of the candidates can get 26 states to say yes. As a compromise candidate, they pick the Libertarian who is seen as acceptable. If it's not seen as acceptable, they would rather take somebody else, right? But I think someone like, it doesn't have to be him, but I'm saying that's the example I would give as someone who they'd go, fine, he's one of us, we'll deal with it. But how it also works is, for those who don't know, the vice president doesn't get selected from the Libertarian Party. It would get selected from the Democrats, Republicans. So you'd get either a Democrat or Republican vice president. So it basically would be a broker deal, right? Where they'd agree to get Amash. If the VP was either Democrat or Republican, whatever, they would agree to that. So that's how that could work. I know it's a stretch. I'm just telling you how it can work. That's all I'm saying. So, yes. All right. Hold on. Thoughts on Michigan AG treading Trump's lawyers? I think you mean for bringing suits? I got to tell you the truth, guys. I know many of you will be upset by this. I just don't think that Trump can win this thing anymore. I think the Republicans have accepted defeat as a whole, right? Not all Republicans. I mean, as a whole of the establishment. Republican establishment has accepted defeat. They're like, fine, we lost, move on. So I think once you lose that establishment Republicans, I don't see the judges saying it. Their establishment too, right? I don't see it working. And I could be wrong. Look, if anyone could pull something out of his derriere, it's Trump, if anybody can. I don't think it's a chance. My gut tells me he can't pull us off. My gut, if I had to bet now, as you guys know, I was not prepared to make any bets on the election. I didn't trust the polls. I didn't know what data to believe. I was like, it's a toss-up in my eyes prior to the election. Now that this is over and we're a month out, I don't think Trump can pull this up. I think it's done. It's my opinion that Biden's going to be nominated. Inaugurated in January. I don't think Trump can win this thing. I think once the establishment press has even turned on him, I think he's got no chance. I think the average American's going to be like, what are you doing? Stop. Right. I mean, the New York Post, right? Some of you might have seen the New York Post has loved Trump for literally decades. They have loved Trump. They were like, Trump, stop. You lost, dude. Stop already. Move on. The Post said that. For those who don't know, the New York Post has been a very pro-Trump newspaper, again, for decades. And they were like, stop. That's why I think, Sam, I don't see him working. I think enough people are like, we're done. I don't think it's going to work. But I could be wrong. You never know. But my guts, I would bet on this time, I'd bet against Trump. I think he's going to lose here. I don't see it. So, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this works. All right. People cannot sit back and wait for government to figure and fix. God, Steve, you're right, but I don't see it. I see people doing it constantly doing it. This has become our norm, and it's unhealthy for us as a people, unhealthy as a culture. I would probably donate the stimulus money to those who really need it. I love that idea, Paul. If you get it, I love that idea. Donations, it will help others. I love that idea. Absolutely. But I wouldn't give it back to the government. I'd rather you give it to a charity that you believe, you trust in, or just to someone you know. You can be your own charity if you think it's appropriate. That's a much better use of that money. Absolutely. Yes. So when Biden gets inaugurated, he has flirted with the idea of going into a shutdown or so. Where can we go from there? I don't think he will. I'm going to give you my gut. And this is just a gut feeling. I have no evidence, so take that for whatever you want. This is just my gut feeling. I think Biden is really concerned about his legacy. I think that's the biggest reason why he ran. This is his third time running. He wanted to win. I think he's going to push hard these first 2 years. Then he's going to chill and just let kind of Kamala kind of take over those last two, right? But I think first he's going to work hard to build something, whatever that thing is. And I believe he's going to try to build the economy back. And if he's going to make the money machine go burr, I think he will, there's no tomorrow. He will print so much money because history won't recognize the damage that will be done 10 years down the road. What history's going to say is, look, he came in after COVID and got the economy back and running. That's what he's going to want to see before he closes his eyes. That's what I think he wants. My gut says he will focus like a laser on the economy and that he will pump out all the money he can. And I don't think he'll do a shutdown. I think he'll do some kind of phased thing that'll look savvy in some way, shape, or form. He'll throw money at us, and he'll try to keep the economy going by that. And there will be literally no limit to the amount of money that he will throw into our economy until it just works out of sheer force of dollars. And to everyone's point here already, that's devastating for our future. I don't think he'll care. That's my opinion. I think he will focus on that so that he will be able to be in history books as the man who saved the economy after COVID. That's what I think he'll try to do. Now, will it work? Maybe. It could. Very often, government can give us a short-term solution if it just throws either force or money in the problem. It's a short-term solution. Hey, I don't have money. Here's a bunch of money. Awesome. And then after that, how are we going to pay for it? Oh, hadn't thought of that. What about now the inflation, or now the idea that we don't have any place to play with interest rates? Oh, hadn't thought of that. Yes, I think that's probably our future. So, yes. Here, to all of us that do not need this money, we should all donate it to a small business relief fund like Dave Portnoy of Barstool set up. Yes, that's not a bad idea at all, Tom. Thank you for that. It's a great idea. Clearly, the government won't help small businesses. It's up to us. Wonderful idea. I like that. I'm in. Yes, I love that. So, see if I can keep going here. Thank you guys for all these comments. It's amazing. I really appreciate it. Let's see. The stimulus screw job has a lot of wasteful spending with our hard-earned tax dollars. And that's where I was going with I think his name was Adam, who said he's from Australia. If you're going to write checks, just write checks, right? If this is what we're going to do, if I have to accept that we're going to give out money, then just give the money out. Just write checks for $2,000 and give it right $2,000. No extra wasteful spending, no extra funding this, funding that. America, here's a bunch of money. Please spend it so that we can get everything else going. Here's tons of money. Just spend it. We're just going to go into debt. Here's money. If you're going to do it, just do it. I completely agree. Yeah, if the government takes $2,700 from you and gives you $600, that's typical charity. Yeah, just give us the $2,700 back. Here's the money. Go. I really think that we're doing exactly the worst thing, right? We're doing exactly the worst thing. Either don't do this or just give the money. That's it, right? Just give the money. That's it. So, all right. We are vaccinating thousands per day. We're up to 2 million. By summer, we should have vaccines available for anyone who wants it. If things are not back to normal by summer, then they have no intention of ever getting back to normal. So we may have to take a page from the Beastie Boys and really fight for a right to party. Yeah, that's possible. But again, I think that Trump wants to get right immediately Biden wants to get to normalcy as soon as he possibly can. He wants to get the economy going. I think we're totally up and running by the summer. That's my gut. I mean, totally up and running. Like nothing ever happened. He'll take full credit for everything. He'll take credit for the vaccine. He'll take credit for his plan. He'll say it's all Trump's fault. And most of the media will buy it, believe it. And that'll be the new story, that it's the Trump virus and Biden saved us. That's what he wants. And it might work. I don't know. We'll see how American people accept this. If the American people accept it, then that's what'll be the story. So we'll see. That's what I think. All right. I think Biden will only be president for a year, maybe. Then he will have a stroke, she put in quotes, or illness doesn't allow him to remain in office. By 2022, it'll be President Harris. I don't think so. And here's the reason why, man. Most people don't realize this. The Constitution says no. What I mean by that is the Constitution only allows someone to be president for 10 years. That's it. So that's why I said he'll be active for at least 2. Because if she takes over after the first year, she can't run 2 more times, right? Because she wouldn't be able to serve out the full 4th term because the Constitution says she can't do it. So they'll have to do 2 years. 2 years, 1 day, she steps in. She does those 2, then 4 and 4. That's 10. She can actually win 2 times, right? That's why I don't think the 1 year thing works at all. It's at least 2 because of the Constitution. So that's what I see without question. So Larry's 100% right. Biden will print more money than even Trump has. 100%. He'll just keep printing. He'll be like, fill that inkwell, print. Do they have inkwells? Fill that inkwell, print it up. That's it. Absolutely. What are your thoughts on Ice Cube contract with Black America Strategy? I think if the LP took his document and gave a libertarian edit, it'd be a great way to gravitate Black people to the LP. Yes, you are correct. Absolutely. There are several problems, though. The first thing is when the Democrats ignored Ice Cube, we weren't next on his list. Shame on us. We should have been, right? He should have gone to Democrats first, who always say they care about Black people. They do. They say it all day long. They don't do anything, but they say it. They do. They talk the talk absolutely with absolutely no walk of the walk at all, but they absolutely talk the talk. So he went there first, which I get it, right? You go there, these guys say, you say you love African Americans? All right, here I am. And they went, see you after the election. He went, well, I don't want to wait till after the election. So went to Trump. And people are like, how dare you go to Trump, you racist. Where was he supposed to go? Trump's in charge. He's got an idea. Where's he supposed to go? Democrats won't talk to him. Right? The problem is we weren't there for him, and I wish we would have been. And it wasn't our fault that we didn't want to. We didn't have the infrastructure. We didn't have the presence. We didn't have everything required to actually take this on and do it. But yeah, I think you're right. The problem is, why would he give it to us? Right? We could take the document, I think, and adjust it. We could. But if we don't have an Ice Cube-like figure, does it really matter? Right? I have tons of plans. I've given plans on how to solve the COVID problem. No one's listening. I've given plans on how to, fix New York State's debt. No one's listening. I give plans how to fix education. Who's listening? I don't have Ice Cube's pull, right? You guys aren't sharing and liking enough. See, I just blamed you guys instead of me. I'm kidding. Thank you for all the people who share and like and comment. Please keep doing that. But I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, if I'm Ice Cube, why would I come to us? If you were Ice Cube, why would you come to us? If some Republican would jump on board and get this thing to go national, why would you come to us? I don't know if Trump will anymore. Now that he's going to be out of office in June. Who knows what he's going to get? If he's savvy, maybe he'll jump on anyway. Even if he's out, maybe he'll take this on like he took on Kim Kardashian stuff. I mean, it was savvy for him to do so. Maybe he will do that. I don't know. I can hope. I agree with you. I just don't know if we have the infrastructure to do so. So yes. All right. Let's see. I don't think Trump will win, but if there's one type of voter fraud, we should know about it. Agreed, Joe. Right. I agree. Yes, you're right. I'm with you 100%. I think I'm with you 100%. Yes. So, Walter Williams is a libertarian too. Walter Williams just passed recently. So yeah, maybe you may not know that, but yeah, absolutely. He actually did. He did pass recently. So let me grab a couple more if I could. All right. Let's see if I can do this. The 2022 stimulus will be $100 trillion bills for every American. Well, there. See. I can buy whatever I want. We'll all buy houses, I guess. First books I read were Harry Brown's Why Government Doesn't Work. Thank you for bringing it up. That is, yes, you're right. Harry Brown's books are great books to pick up. Thank you for that. Yes, and Harry Brown's books they're harder core libertarian, but very much open to hearing other people. They're much softer. They're harder core with a softer communication, a softer message. So yes, very good. Yes, I agree with that. Yes. So I'd rather have an open economy and balanced budget. The average American wouldn't even be given a checking account with that kind of budget spending. Agreed. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So let's see. I think I must have missed that one. Most liberals have no understanding how the system works. Just throw money at it seems to be the only thing they know. I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure Republicans, most conservatives know either. I think what liberals are thinking is they can't think of any other solution. It's just not in their brain to think about what's the next step. All they know is government, right? They've been taught that for a long time, right? We have a problem in most of the world, but in America too, which is if something is correct, it should be a law, and that's wrong, right? Just because something's correct doesn't mean it should be law. So if you drink less soda, you'll be healthier, right? And that's probably true, right? You should probably drink less sweet drinks, right? It's probably not good for you, right? I think most would agree that's probably true. So now it should be a law. So now no one can drink sweet drinks anymore because no. You get the data out, you tell people what's right, and over time, people make better decisions. How do you know that? Well, because if you go to the stores now, what do you see? Those small soda cans. People are figuring out, I shouldn't drink as much soda. It's not good for me. I can still have soda, but I don't want to drink as much. It's not good for me. So they drink less. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And when we decide on our own to do so, we actually do it. When the government forces us to do so, we rebel and we drink more soda. I'll show you, government, and we drink more soda and hurt ourselves in the process, showing the government, show you. No, just give the information and people make decisions as they see fit as time goes on. It's what happens. So it might be both. So, All right. Let's see here. Larry, there is an anti-vax mandate protest in Rochester on Friday. One of the organizers is involved with BLM, but the description of the event says family-friendly, peaceful march. Thoughts? I don't think every BLM person is by default violent. And if someone in the BLM wants to be nonviolent and wants to do that, please, that'd be amazing. I would love for the people who have fallen in to be at BLM. For those of you who understand what I'm saying, BLM as a movement and as an organization have been completely mixed. And the majority of people, particularly on the left, simply haven't done their homework on this. They don't really know the difference. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people who know exactly what's going on. But there are many people who just don't. They're like, oh, BLM, that's the woke thing to do? I want to be woke. I'm going to hang out with them. There's a lot of people who are there. Just, oh, okay, those are the woke people. I'm going to win the woke off today. I'm woker than you. And they go there thinking that that's the right and just and kind thing to do. And they give money there and realize what the group actually is. And they fall into it. So if this person is one of those types of people, good. Grab their hand and say, welcome aboard. Awesome. And they'll go, oh, maybe I've made some mistakes. Maybe I can stop thinking. Hope that's true. If they're not, you should still go. You shouldn't let that individuals, you shouldn't let them stop you from your freedom of speech. Just be careful. But I wouldn't stop it. I wouldn't stop doing what you want to do because some guy or some gal has a badge you don't like on, is what that is, right? I would hope that they're one of those who were a bit lost. We hope. If they're not, still go. Just be careful. If it's family friendly and peaceful, life is good. Let's try to do some kumbaya time. That would be amazing. So I want to give the person the benefit of the doubt and see what happens. I know people go, Larry, you're too nice, benefit of the doubt, optimist. Yes, absolutely. Buffalo Bills or Larry Sharpe. You can do both. You can watch and listen or watch me later. Either one, all good. Yes. Ice Cube would come get iced tea. Would come to iced tea. Ice Cube would come to iced tea. That's true. Yes, that's true. We should have grabbed iced tea. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. Good point. Point taken. Yes. We should start commenting, and sharing your vids, Larry. Yes, I'm with you, Joe. We should do that. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yes, absolutely. Yes. All plans, agendas, and operations against the people with poison instead of bullets is not cause they care. All plans, agenda, and operations against the people with poisons and bullets is not because they care. I'm not sure where you're going with that, Matthew. Are you saying that they're just not openly fighting with bullets, that what they're doing is slowly killing us? I think that's true. And when it comes to their care piece, I want to deal with two parts of this, which many people don't understand or don't care, one or the other. I care tremendously on this. Many of the people at the top actually have an agenda, and they're actually trying to do something that they believe is in their personal best interest, regardless of who they hurt, regardless of what damage is done. That's true. Most of the people who are at the bottom don't know that, aren't part of that. They believe this is the right way. I'm helping people, Matthew. Why are you so mean? Most of the people at the bottom actually believe in the talk that's being given to them. Most of them do. Not all, but the vast majority do. I want to focus on getting those people to move towards us and then showing those people at the top that it's not working. Right now, they're winning. You're right. They're winning right now. I don't want that to continue. I can't physically fight the people at the top. It's not working. Can I get people at the bottom to start going, you know what? This is the wrong answer. I want all these good things that I want for people. And I believe that this guy or gal at the top was the only answer. That's not true. These people have a better answer. I shouldn't be mad at this guy, Matthew. I should be following this guy. He's got some good ideas. Why don't I do what he's doing? I can still get what I want by doing this versus following these people who are all of a sudden seem kind of draconian to me. And we don't do that well. We say, they're all bad people. And then they don't come to us. And then they go deeper into the agenda of people who are trying to hurt us. So I just want to make a difference between those two, right? The plans and agendas, for the most part, aren't being made by the junior people in the movement. They're doing what they believe is right. They think this is the right plan. You're the bad guy, Matt, because you're mean and nasty. That's what they believe. If we can show them a better way, they'll come to us. That's what I'm trying to achieve. Is it easy? No. It's really hard. It's super hard. This is why I've said it's a 10-year plan for me. I started in 2016. It's been 4 years. I got 6 left to try to make this thing work, to make the impact we have to make, to where at one point the people stop following orders, right? At one point, they stop following orders. I want to encourage that. Stop following orders. Come to us. That's my goal. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm fooling myself. And there's no chance, and it's going to result in bad stuff, and maybe I'm fooling myself. It's possible. But if I am, and this is going to result in bad violence and bad things, here's what I'll know, Matthew. I've done everything I can in my power to not make that happen. That I'll be sure of. I've done that. I've done everything I can do. And I'll at least, when I'm going over to the gulag, I can feel better about myself as they load me on the train. So at least I'll feel better about myself. And if I'm able to survive whatever horribleness comes, hopefully people will look to me and go, Larry, what were you saying again about fixing this stuff? And then maybe people will listen after that. That's all I can hope. But we're in a bad spot. We are. I don't want to believe that it has to fall in to that violence. I don't want to believe it. So yes. Referendum on bridge leasing idea. Maybe, right? That might be something we could try. That's not a bad idea. Maybe we could try something like that. That could work. Yes. That could do it. So a libertarian book that I've read is Arguing with Idiots by Glenn Beck. That doesn't sound good at all. Arguing with idiots? I'm not. All right. Yes. Stop arguing with yourself in the mirror and writing a book about it. And write a book about it? I actually am, by the way, already. I'm actually doing it. Yes. So I have 2 books I'm working on for next year. I hope both will come out. One is on happiness and one is on leadership. I hope both of them will come out next year. And I'll probably have one on government probably the year after that, or maybe a year and a half after that. So I am working on books as people are asking me for it. So I've already been trying it. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. Let's see if I can keep going. The small soda cans are because of inflation, shrinkflation. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Drinking less soda is healthier for you. Yep. See that? It's going to be my top platform plank of an extra state rep. Yes. You have to drink less soda. That's my rule. Joe's going to become a dictator. He's going to become an autocrat. He's going to force people to drink small sodas. Go get some. I love it. Absolutely. So, all right. I don't want to be able to run to a train. No, I don't either. No. I don't want to go on a train either. I do not want that. I was teasing because of the gulag thing, but yes, I hope it isn't going to work. Yes. So, all right, where can I go here? See if I can keep going here. Let's see. Vaccines are slowly killing everyone. I've heard that, Kate, right? I've heard that more than once. I'm actually unsure about that, right? I don't know if that's true or not, which is why everyone gets to do, in my view, what they feel is correct, Kate. If you think that the risk of getting COVID or the flu or whatever is less than the risk of a vaccine, then you shouldn't get the vaccine, which is why you've never heard me talk about a mandate. I say the vaccine should be available for everybody who wants it. If that's not you, you shouldn't get it. If it is you, please go ahead. That's really my worry, is that it does also cause for some people terrible reactions. And if you think that's a higher risk of you having that reaction for you or your children, I see from your picture that children there, you shouldn't give it to your kids, right? And this is my point. There should be no mandate. But if people feel like the risk of a vaccine is less than the risk of the flu or COVID, then they should get a vaccine. It really depends upon what is your tolerance of risk. That's really what it is. And you should be able to make that pick any way you like. So, Larry Libertarian message rocks. Thank you. We need the Larry movement. Go, Larry. I'm trying. I keep going. I appreciate that. Yes. So good. All right. Let's see here if I can keep going here. People watching the Bills game. That's awesome. That's great. Yes. All right. Looking forward to your political orphanage podcast episode with Andrew. Yes, that should be coming out. I taped it this morning. That should be coming out hopefully later on this week. I hope that's good. So 2021 Christmas list, Larry's new books. Yes, I'm trying. Absolutely. Auction is slowly killing everyone. 100% death rate. That's true, Myron. I completely agree. Yes. Keep an eye out as Facebook has completely blocked my live stream. Oh, no. All right. So do we got to do Twitter and YouTube for you? All right, guys. If you want to see Michael Bass's cool podcast, no sound bites allowed, his live streams, you can't go on Facebook anymore. You got to go either to YouTube, which he's on right now, or over to Twitter, either one. So you can do that if you like, 100%. Censorship has increased since Biden election. Your thoughts? Something has to be done. And I think we have to make a decision one way or the other on what Facebook actually is. This is my problem. And I don't want Facebook, sadly, I don't want Facebook deciding. And it sounds horrible, but I don't, because Facebook is just going to decide to create a massive amount of regulations to protect its bubble and to protect its basic monopoly, and then make sure no one else is able to do that. I hope that isn't what happens, but I do get it. Censorship in the case of private companies is bad, but the question is, what are they, right? Right now, Facebook is getting the benefits of both worlds, right? Are they a content creator, or are they just a platform? What are they, right? Do they own it? Do they not own it? We've got to pick one and move from there. We do that and we can rock and roll. And the question for some of you, I'm talking about mandates. Does it matter if it's a mandate? Does it matter if the vaccine works or doesn't work? All those types of things. I would ask the question: How do you self-identify? Is that as someone who says, you know what, I'm anti-vax, or are you anti-mandate? Right? There's a difference. I'm not anti-vax. I'm 100% anti-mandate. 100% anti-mandate. Period. With me, and I'm a bit radical in this, I know, and I'm using that radical, but no mandates on putting stuff in your body. Just no mandates on that. If I'm that afraid, the one really good thing about the vaccines coming up now is there are multiple vaccines. I think 4 or 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken. At least now people get to the idea of, wait a minute, we can pick and choose vaccines. Yes, that's what I want. Yes, I want you to be able to pick the vaccine or vaccines that you believe work best for you or your children or your family, or not. Or not. If we continue down this road, we may be able to get vaccines that more people will be okay with. The vast majority of people who are anti-vax, not all, but most who are anti-vax are anti-something that's in the vaccine, whatever those things or chemicals or things that are in the vaccine. It's those things they're against for most people. Or they're against the methodology used to get the vaccine. Either of those two. So if you want those people to be satisfied, have multiple vaccines, and that some they will trust. So some vaccines won't have these things. They'll make a vaccine without it so that people who are afraid of that thing will go, you know what, I'm in. Or they'll follow a different procedure. When you allow more options in the market, more people jump in the market, no matter what it is. So absolutely, I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti-mandate. We should allow people to make more. Allow people to get mad. Allow Kid to say why she doesn't want vaccine. What's wrong? What is she upset about? And have her tell you. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. Okay, great. Those are the things you're against. Can we create a vaccine that Kate goes, you know what? Yeah. If they had these things, I'd be fine. But they don't. So now somebody can. That's the issue I want to bring. Now we can discuss those issues and not just go, you don't get a mandate, you're crazy. You don't get a vaccine, you're crazy. You want a vaccine, you're crazy. I don't want that. That's not helpful. So it's the libertarian to me. And if you're not sure whether or not you're a libertarian or not, watch this. It's a very tough time right now to have a real conversation politically about where the country should go right now. Mad at this guy, not mad at that guy, big problems. How do you do that? How do you have that conversation? Starts with respect, not leading with facts and opinions, but instead leading with respect, mutual respect, human respect. What can we use to make that happen? the world's smallest political quiz at theadvocates.org. Go there, take that test, show people that test, show them the issues, and have the conversation with your family and friends to make an actual change and have a real conversation in this country. Theadvocates.org. That guy's right. You should listen to him 100%. So thank you guys for all the stuff you've been doing. I love this. It's the invisible hand for vaccines. Yes, it is, Myron. Yes, that's exactly what I want. I want people to be able to pick and choose what they want. That's the issue. Pick and choose what they feel most comfortable dealing with in their life. If I can't convince Kate to get a vaccine, then that's my fault, right? If I'm a vaccine company and Kate's like, I don't trust you, vaccine company, well, this is my job to market to her effectively and give her the products and services that she wants. If I can't do that, then shame on me, right? Shame on me for that. I've got to be able to convince my market that what I'm saying is right, that what I'm doing is safe. If I can't do that, no, absolutely. The side effects of the vaccine seem bad at the same very small rate as the actual virus. It really should be optional. Well, not just that, Joe. What if you're a 17-year-old high school student who's in great shape with no pre-existing conditions? Why wouldn't you just want to seriously just get the virus? I don't mean that in any way to be flippant. I mean, seriously, why wouldn't you just want to get the virus? The odds are astronomical that it's going to give you any real damage, but your body could take it, naturally fight it, and be fine without a vaccine. Why wouldn't you want that, right? If you're a 17-year-old, or I'm making that age up, but anything, a strapping young, American, whatever, right? Why wouldn't you? If I was 17, I'd be like, yeah, I don't care. I'm in my 50s. I'm not going to say what number, but I'm in my 50s. I'm not afraid of it. Now, maybe I should be. Maybe I'll get COVID next year and drop dead. Could happen. I hope not. Could happen, right? Absolutely could happen. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean I would change who I am or what I'm doing. I'm right now not heavily afraid of it. Would I get the vaccine? Maybe. I'm not rushing. I'm not rushing to get the vaccine because I'm not in that world. Now I have three people in my world who are in that zone. They should get the vaccine because the odds of them having a bad reaction from the vaccine is much lower than if they get COVID. They're finished. Two of them are over 80, one's over 70. All three are pre-existing conditions from diabetes to asthma to chemo, all the issues you can imagine. They should get it. Me, whatever. So, all right. I'm a Pats fan and watching Larry over the game. Thank you for watching me, Pats fan. Okay, yes. If I get the vaccine, it'll be once we know more about its effects and other most important people have gotten it or part-time job forces me. Yeah, I think I'm kind of in your same world. I would get it, but I'm not rushing. You should have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. show. I love the idea. I should grab him. Yes, I should 100%. Excuse me. I don't think we need the vaccine for everything. We have an immune system. Let it work, do what it's meant to. This is my point, Joe, right? If you know that you are already young and healthy and the odds of you getting, having any damage from the virus are very slim, wouldn't you want your immune system to go through it and take it anyway, right? If you again, depends on where you are. But if you got, you're asthmatic, you're on chemo because you got leukemia or something, vaccine. Right. I totally agree. Yes. So, I'll be the guinea pig. Give me all of them. I like it, Tom. You're not playing games. I love that. Yes. What would be the benefits of auditing the Federal Reserve? And what are your thoughts on the bombing down in Tennessee? The Federal Reserve, I think we have to. It is my opinion that the only way that we have any chance of ending the Federal Reserve is if we audit it. Now, a lot of people disagree with me. This is controversial with the libertarian world. Some people say, no, auditing is useless, never going to work. A lot of people believe that. It is my view. Again, a lot of people in the libertarian world think I'm wrong. So many Americans, Joe, don't even know that the Federal Reserve is a central bank. I've had people tell me this, literally. I would say, what do you think about the U.S. central bank? They go, we don't have a central bank. We don't need the central bank. Who needs a central bank? We have the Fed. They don't get it's the central bank. They don't get it. Or the people who think that the Federal Reserve is part of the government. So with that in mind, I think the only way we get people to see it as for what it is first an audit. The reality is we really can't audit it. Why? You really just can't audit a private company. It's a private banking cartel is what it really is, right? It's a private banking cartel. You can't just, they could sue us and go, you're just doing it because whatever. And they had the money to put it into court. So they'd fight. And just the fact they would do that, and hopefully, my only hope is if you have an executive, a president who says, no, we're auditing the Fed, or you have Congress go, no, we are auditing the Fed, and even they fight, that would actually get the press to cover it. It's a fight. Press will always cover a fight. Guaranteed the press will cover a fight. The press will actually cover it. And then the reporters, who, by the way, also don't know that the Fed is not part of the government, and also don't know the Fed magically makes money or it's a private banking cartel. They don't know either. You think, well, it's all conspiracy. No, they don't know. They have no idea. They haven't looked at it. They don't care. Now they'll look into it. And you can tell me some reporter is going to try to make their bones by going, oh my God, this is a big scam. People will start talking about it. More Americans will know about it. More Americans will get it. So when I talk about how it's the Federal Reserve, that's the biggest reason why we have these boom and busts. It's the Federal Reserve, which is the biggest reason why we have this wealth gap. It's not capitalism or socialism. It's the Federal Reserve that creates these bubbles and then now creates this wealth gap. That's the biggest reason. People will hear me and go, that dude's right. That dude's right. Yeah, we should get rid of the Federal Reserve. I believe auditing is the only way to the next step, which eventually is ending the Fed. Now, ending the Fed can't be overnight. We are so tied to the Federal Reserve, and so are so many other countries. It is a process to end it unless you have just a horrible disruption. And I don't want any more disruption, because if you have too much disruption, people fall back to their old ways and they'll beg for the Fed back again, or they'll beg for an openly central bank. They will beg for the same thing again if the disruption is too much. So you've got to have it just enough to end it out, phase it out, and then make a shift. That's why I think auditing the Fed is the right answer. Again, I know lots of people disagree. That's why I say it. That's what I believe is our only actual answer. I hope I answered your question. What are your thoughts on the bombing down in Tennessee? This goes back to what I said earlier. You put people in desperate situations, and then we're shocked when they act desperately. When I say this, I'm not validating anybody's actions. What I'm saying is, this is obvious. Like anyone should have known this was going to happen. I said literally before the election, I said after the election, there is going to be sporadic violence. I said it more than once. The only thing I predicted that I was prepared to predict, I was not prepared to predict the election. I was too much a toss-up for me. I did not predict it. But what I did predict, and I was happy and open to predict, not happy, I was open to predict was there will be sporadic violence. Here is some of that. There'll be tons of it. There's going to be more. It's not over, right? If Biden's actually, and I think Biden will be sworn in January 20th, there'll be more. If Trump tries to fight the Electoral College in January 6th, there'll be more. There'll be sporadic violence. It's what's going to happen. There'll be sporadic violence. Now, and the reason why there'll be most of it is because of COVID, because of the government response to COVID, which locks everybody up. You have guys like him, Anthony Warren, who basically was basically what we know so far. He was kind of a shut-in, right? So now he was shut even more in. Now he was isolated even more. So now you isolate somebody to where they just sit around their house all day. What's going to happen? Stuff like this, where people say, you know what the best answer is? Going out in a blaze of glory. That's the answer. And that's what he thought. I mean, there's no doubt that he didn't want to kill people. He literally said, evacuate, get out. I'm going to blow myself up. Get out, get out. And cops had time to get people out. And then he blew everything up. So he was trying to go out in a blaze of glory without killing people. So he was trying to send some kind of message. Who knows what his message was? I'm sure it'll come out eventually. He'll have some manifesto or something in some way, shape, or form. So if you want people to not act desperately, don't put them in desperate situations. Allow people to find freedom, find happiness, find their livelihood in the ways that they want to. You do that, you'll have less people doing things like this. You will have less sporadic violence, because when people have purpose, I spoke about this in last week. when people have purpose, when people have love, when people have respect, they don't do stuff like this. They don't. Right? If that guy had something to do, if he had a purpose, he's not blowing himself up. He's got stuff to do. I'd love to blow myself up, but I can't. I got to take care of this person, help myself, grow this, grow that, do something. I don't have time to blow myself up. Yeah. As silly, as simple as that sounds, that's reality, right? You've heard me say this a million times, and I'll keep saying it. What's killing our youth, what's killing Americans, what's causing the massive amount of drug addiction and suicides and all these problems isn't government. Well, it is, but not directly. Isn't necessarily government, isn't ideology. It's three things. Not guns, not drugs. It's not what it is. This guy blew himself up. He didn't have guns or drugs. It's not what he did, right? It's none of those things. It's three things. Lack of purpose, lack of community, and loneliness. Those are the three things that are killing Americans. Those three things. Lack of purpose, lack of community, and loneliness. And I can almost guarantee it. This guy didn't have community, didn't have purpose, so he made it. He made purpose. And he got it himself. He did. Now he's got purpose. And he was lonely. That's how it always works. So fix that, and people stop bombing. That's how it works. Yes. What bothers me, us, is a lot of pro-vaxxers seem to want everyone else to be vaxxed too. I think that's true. I get that. And I don't have a problem with them wanting it. I don't. I have a problem with forcing it. If somebody wants to come to you, right, and says, hey, let me try to convince you and show you why vaccines are awesome, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with them forcing you. But if they want to try to convince you, hey, this is the right answer, you should go, let them try, whatever. They'll do commercials, they'll do videos on YouTube, and if you care, you'll watch, and if you don't, you won't. But it's fine. I have no problem with them wanting it. Good for them. Then you know what? Let them convince you. Let them show you how good they actually are. Let them show you that. So, all right. Larry, will you run for mayor? No. Not running for mayor. No, not running for mayor. Not at all. Yes, Stacey Pressman, it's actually Pressman, Prussman, is running for mayor. There are other people running for mayor too. I don't remember all of them. There are some others. But Stacey is already up and running, has her page up, already raising money, already has her team built, setting out policy. She is taking this seriously. For those of you who want to check it out, it's Stacey. It's Prussman4mayor.com. For those who care, Prussman for mayor. That's for New York. So I like that. So I thought forcing vaccines was a war crime. William, nicely done. Yes, that's correct. Yes, I love that. Absolutely. I love that. Yes. Very good. I'm going to take that. Yes. Larry, you're for governor. I might. As I said, I will announce in this summer if I'll be running for governor. I will be announcing without question by then. Absolutely. So maybe. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no. It depends on how much support I can get and what's going on. That is my issue. So let's see. Where did the flu go? This is a part, Pete, that is going to be tough for us to deal with in the coming years. And that is, there's a chunk of COVID deaths. I don't know what that number is, but there's a chunk of COVID deaths that aren't COVID deaths. Is that 10,000? Is it 100,000? I don't know. But there's a chunk that's not COVID. I don't know what that number is. How are we going to be able, as a culture who's done this to ourselves, a self-inflicted wound that we've done, go back and go, oh yeah, those 500,000 people who died of COVID, yeah, only 300,000 died of COVID. Whoa, okay. Still horrible. Please don't get me wrong. Still horrible, particularly if it's someone you love died. Still horrible. But then how do you now validate everything you've done? Right? How do you validate everything you've done? It's tough. It's going to be a tough one. I don't know how they're going to sing that song, Pete. They're going to have to sing that song somehow. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's going to be a song and a dance. That's for sure. Mr. Sharpe, you don't look over there over 25. Yes. I'm shaving my head a little tight, right? Shave you a little tight. Maybe I look a little younger. I'll try. I'll see what I can do. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. So Let's see. If I keep going, let your immune system do what it's designed to do and make you stronger. So for future sicknesses, you have better odds at beating it. Stop taking antibiotics when possible. I'm actually a fan of that, Jamie, to be forward with you, right? I rarely take antibiotics. I rarely take any medicine. I do sometimes, but rarely. And I rarely go to the doctor unless I feel it's something that I can't handle. I do go to the doctor. I'm not someone who's anti-doctor, but I try to allow my immune system to work as best as it possibly can. I do try. Sometimes I take antibiotics if it gets bad, right? I'm the guy who goes to the doctor when it's bad. That's me. And that may not always be the best thing, but that's who I am. I try to allow my body to fix whatever it can fix to the best of its ability. I don't go to I don't take medicine except allergy medicine when I'm on the road because I don't want to be in front of somebody sneezing into my hands and sneezing and stuff. So I will take allergy medicines when I'm on the road. Otherwise, I don't even take those. So I agree with you. But again, I want to be clear. If you know that you're in that demographic that's really at risk, get the vaccine, right? If you're in that demographic, because if you're, I think, is it 75 or older? I forgot what it is. There's a number. If you're 75 or older and you have a pre-existing condition, there's a really high chance it's going to kill you. Or if it doesn't, leave serious long-term effects. I would gamble on a vaccine if I were you, if you were in that spot. If you're not, I'm with you, Jamie. I wouldn't. Yes. So the end goal of life is death. It's all timing. I'm not sure that's true. I think the end goal of life is what you make it to be, right? Is it to achieve something, to make impact, to be happy, to help others? Is it to raise a family? Is it to achieve something you want to achieve? I think that's the end goal of life. That just happens when it's over. That's when the game's over, right? The game's over when they put you in a box. That's when the game's over. It doesn't mean that was the goal, right? When Monopoly's over, it doesn't mean you've achieved the goal. It just means the game's over, right? Same idea. Did you achieve what you want to achieve? I think that's the end goal. Am I wrong with that? Yeah. So, what sucks working in the medical, I will be forced to get vaccine no matter what. Yeah, some people are, right? If you want to keep your job, you got to get it. That does suck. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to get the vaccine when my employer forces me to continue working. Yep, absolutely. Yep, I think that's true. I think that's true. Yes. Larry, how do you feel about the theory that COVID is an update for the Matrix? This is explaining why the older units are having trouble running it. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of funny, right? But there is a bit of the Matrix mindset, right? That we're just waiting for the upgrade, waiting for the vaccine. We're just sitting back waiting. We're allowing the Matrix to run us. So there is a little bit of that. It's a joke, but there is a little bit of that, right? Absolutely. So, all right. What about growing movement for vaccine passports required for travel? This is going to be a tough one too, right? But I'm with you, Mike. I think this is real. This could actually happen. Potential is requirement for government aid and or job. So no mandate, but no effective choice. High potential to happen. Thoughts? Yes, I think that's how they'll do it. I actually don't think that there will be an actual mandate. I was afraid of that months ago. But once the Supreme Court stopped Cuomo from shutting down churches, I felt a little bit better. And then once Trump's plan was to use private companies to give out the vaccine. Cuomo wanted to make sure that government agencies gave out the vaccine. I'm glad that private companies won that battle. Now, don't get me wrong, they haven't been as effective as they could have been. That's true. It was a government private company handoff, which of course wasn't going to work. But that's fine. I accept that. Now, when you have private companies giving it out, private companies aren't going to knock on people's doors and force. Government agents would. Now there's no government agents in that role, so I don't think there'll be an actual mandate. But what you're saying, Michael, I think will happen. It will be what everyone was talking about, right? Joe was talking about, about the idea that what will happen is if I want to live my life, I kind of have to get a vaccine, even though it's not a mandate. Oh, you want to travel? Vaccine. But no, you don't have to get a vaccine. Just never leave your state. Oh, you want to drive? Oh, you have the vaccine. Oh, you don't have to get a vaccine. Just don't want a car. So I think that begins to happen. Travel, car. Oh, you're in trouble. You need food stamps. Oh, you don't have to get a vaccine, but you can't get food stamps. So I think that is the kind of thing that I think you'll find happening. I think that's a very high potential to happen. Unless people get the vaccine on their own, and then, then it's okay. So, fun fact, Bitcoin publicly audits itself constantly, many times a day. Very true, Myron. I like that. Someone likes Bitcoin here. By the way, as I said, I have Bitcoin. I'm with you already. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So if I can grab these, if I keep going here. What do you think about street vendors popping up in New York City? I love it that people are doing what they have to do, but I hate that they're stuck in a situation. I also feel they should be left alone. This, believe it or not, Joe, is the way we can get ourselves out of this, right? It's the idea of allowing people to create their own value in their own neighborhoods and communities. That's how we draw ourselves out of this. They're not going to reopen the economy for some dumb reason. They're not going to. So instead, let local communities decide to open up as they want to, right? What's going to happen is, as they pop up, someone's going to go, you can't do that. You're licensed. And I'm saying, shut up. Let them do what they want. And that goes back to what I talked about 3 years ago. Stop licensing and instead have credentialing. And what's the difference? If a license is required, if you don't have the license, I punish you and I stop you and I fine you. That's licensing. I'm saying have credentials. Saying you are a whatever, New York City vendor. Okay. Do you have the credential that says you're an official New York City vendor? You didn't go through our hoops. You don't get that credential. Now the consumers decide. Do they care about that credential? If you, Joe, go and say, wait a minute, he doesn't have that sign, that stamp, I don't want to go there, then the vendor will see value in that and the vendor will go get the credential. But it's up to them. If you go, I don't care. That guy's gyros is delicious. I don't care if he's got the stamp or not. Then you'll go buy the gyros or whatever you want, the hot dogs, whatever you like, right? You'll go eat it, right? You'll get the Philly cheesesteak. You'll go grab it and you won't care. The consumer will decide whether that becomes valuable or not. You do that and you watch people pop up. And those people, when I eat and I get sick and I go, oh my God, I get sick, they're not going to go there anymore. But people will be dying in the streets. There is zero evidence of that ever. That's fabricated, right? And I love the idea. Well, these hot dog vendors, they're doing all these hot dogs. They're making, 1,000 hot dogs a day. They're going to wind up killing people. All right, well, let me ask you. There are literally every day in America, probably hundreds of thousands of people who make hot dogs every day for their family and friends. Where are all the deaths from hot dogs? There are none. Doesn't happen. It's fantasy. People aren't dying from hot dogs every day. People get sick because they undercook hot dogs. Yes, that does happen. Of course that happens. People get sick from undercooked hot dogs. That does happen. Of course it does. So what's the worst that can happen if some guy or gal's got a hot dog stand? You'll get sick from an undercooked hot dog. That will suck. But he doesn't want that either. She doesn't want that either. So the odds are slim. Do some people get sick from eating hot dogs from vendors? Yeah, that still happens sometimes. So let people find ways of making their own way through this. Let the consumers decide what they think is important. Let communities decide what they think is important. We can pull ourselves out of this. That's what I think. So, all right. So if I can grab a couple of these. All right. Let's see here. I'm glad you guys are popping back above each other. I've got family friends saying they refuse to be around me if I don't get the vaccine. Yes, there'll be social pressure too. You're right, Missy. I hate that it's yet another area of division created. Still not ready to co-sign on that vaccine. It's another thing. You're right. That is an issue, right? It is an issue. You're going to have an issue where people are going to say, look, you can't come to my house. But, they have a right. I mean, they do, right? They have a right. But how would you go about it? I'm looking for an out-of-the-box idea of getting these people to open their eyes. I'm right there with you, Larry, to elaborate. Thank you. Yes. I think you go about it by using the bully pulpit. What most people don't understand is that when you win an election, you've just won a popularity contest. So say what you feel, right? An executive should say, hey, we should be auditing the Fed. And every time they're in the public eye, let's audit the Fed. In the public eye, let's audit the Fed. And eventually people go, oh, we should audit the Fed. That will begin to happen. So I think it's to be talking to people about it, right? I tell a story about how the crash is the biggest reason for the wealth gap. I tell it often, all the time. If we keep telling that story, people go, oh, Oh, you know what? Maybe this Fed thing's real. I think that's what we do. It's repetition. That's really the answer. When they have purpose, they will have drive. 100% yes. Yes. When they have purpose, they will have drive. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So Nashville is another FF. You mean false flag? Probably another Halliburton style scam. Invest in the economy. I'm not sure. See, I don't buy the false flag automatically. I'm not saying false flag operations don't exist. I'm not saying that. But I'm not a guy who immediately goes there, right? Any type of conspiracy takes lots of people, lots of energy, lots of everything. So I'm the opposite. I always assume it's not that until nothing else matches. So I go the opposite, Kate. I go to, it's not a false flag. Unless these other things are true, then okay, maybe it is. I know a lot of people go right to false flag. I don't. I'm the opposite of that. I just feel like conspiracies are so hard to keep, are so hard to get by. So many people have to get in on it. It takes a lot for me to believe that it's false flag. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know that, but I always err on the opposite side. I just don't think these people are good enough to pull it off. And too many people are selfish and would talk about it. I just think that's it, right? That's just my gut. But it's past my bedtime. You know, it's getting past mine too, Pete. I absolutely agree. Yes, I do appreciate that. Guys, I do want to say thank you so much for today. Peach, right? It's past our bedtime. I'm teasing, but for some of you it is. I'm back to work this week. I hope many of you are working, maybe not this week, but many of you are still working. Please, as always, if you can sponsor the show, please do so. Patreon.com/Sharpe. If you want me to keep doing what I'm doing, I want to keep doing it. This takes time, money, and energy, and I'm bringing on a bunch of people to work harder on this show as of January. We're doing a much bigger push as of January. We're going to see a lot of different things happening. That requires cash. Advertisements growing. People said, Larry, get your face out there. I'm doing it. I'm trying to make it happen. Please support me. Patreon.com/Sharpe. If you're one of those guys who have tons of money, you're making a killing this year. I hate saying that. I gotta stop saying that. You're making a bunch of money this year. It's a good year for you. Awesome. Throw me $100. If you're not, no worries. $25, $10, fine. All good. You can do that absolutely. And of course, support my sponsors, grownselection.com, theadvocates.org. I hope to see you guys very soon. In fact, I will see you all tomorrow.